Good evening, visitors, and welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Dan Hiscock, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Lieutenant Commander Nam Nguyen. This evening we warmly welcome the family of Private James McDevitt, whose story will be told shortly. We also warmly welcome one recruit training unit from the Royal Australian Air Force Base in Wagga Wagga, New South Wales. As always, we welcome the veterans who are served, those still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Service Clubs Association. We welcome those members watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Puller reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem. If you wish to and you're able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read just one of the stories behind those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament. Flowers of the forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Puller reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private James Worrell McDevitt. James McDevitt was born on the 21st of April, 1891 in Leongatha, Victoria. Known as Jimmy, he was one of 9 children born to Alexander and Rose McDevitt. When he was young, his family relocated to Tasmania, settling in Hobart. He received his education at the nearby St. Joseph's Convent School and later went on to become a labourer. McDevitt attempted to enlist in the AIF in Hobart soon after the outbreak of war in 1914. Having suffered from epilepsy throughout his life, he was rejected on medical grounds. He later moved to Sydney, where he again attempted to enlist. Forging the paperwork to say he had been born in Battersea, London, and that he had never been found unfit for active service, he was accepted and joined the Australian Imperial Force on the 3rd of November 1914. He was assigned to reinforcements of the 4th Battalion and began training. The following year, he embarked from Sydney on board the troop ship Siang B. Arriving in Egypt, he joined troops training in preparation for an attack on the Gallipoli Peninsula. Private McDevitt took part in one of the first Australian actions of the war, landing with his comrades on Gallipoli on the 25th of April 1915. His battalion suffered relatively light casualties on that first day, with wounded, missing and killed amounting to 60 men. The following day, however, casualties rose to 150 as they came under increasing machine gun fire and artillery fire. The Australians managed to hold their lines under increasingly dangerous conditions. McDevitt continued serving in the front lines with his battalion into the following month. On the 19th of May 1915, the Turks launched an attack in a bid to force the Australians off the peninsula and recapture the beachhead. The 4th Battalion's position was hit by heavy enemy fire shortly after midnight, and at 3:30 a.m, the enemy attacked. The Australians defended their position and managed to repulse the attack. By 9:30 a.m, the Turks had been forced to retreat to their lines. They had suffered around 10,000 casualties, while Australian casualties mounted to less than 700. Among the dead was Private McDevitt, who died of wounds that day on board the hospital ship Sudan. James McDevitt was buried at sea. Today, he is commemorated on the Lone Pine Memorial at Gallipoli, among more than 4,000 other Australians. He was 24 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private James McDevitt, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. And at the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub of Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support of the Memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.